Hi, my name is Eran Damlin. I'm VP Product in CloudBeat. In the next few moments, we'll broadcast the webinar that was recorded on the 15th of August regarding test automation using Oxygen for web and mobile automation. But beforehand, I'll just share with you a few slides about CloudBeat, explaining the product and explaining our vision. So, CloudBeat. The CloudBeat solution basically comes to reconcile between the QA and DevOps processes by running and managing all the automation tests in one place. So you could actually run all the types of automation you have in one place and see the results in one place. To aggregate testing and technical data from the existing QA and DevOps tools, so you could actually use any data that was collected from your QA and DevOps to one central place to understand the situation currently with your release. To do a smart analysis that helps the instantly find defects, root cause, and make go, no-go decisions. So you have your release provided by your DevOps, you have your automation that's run by your QA tools, and you can actually do smart analysis through CloudBeat. And you can actually reduce the testing and release time by 50% using our tools, proven and shown by several of our customers. We'll talk about them in a moment. Well, CloudBeat is currently included by two tools or two platforms. One is the Oxygen automation tool, which we'll hear about in a few minutes. CloudBeat tests. If you stay on in the webinar about half an hour in, we'll share a few demo about the CloudBeat solution, which is our enterprise tool. Oxygen being an open source tool, CloudBeat being an enterprise tool, a SaaS platform. And we'll not be talking about tonight about CloudBeat machine learning, but that's an exciting tool that we're about to launch and will enable us to do AI-based test results and business impact analysis. So how do we do that magic, that connecting all the tools and all the dots together? We start by actually integrating with the automation tool, wherever you have. It could be Oxygen, but it can be any other platform that you've been using. Then, by actually executing the automation, any automation you created, or being initiated by your CI/CD service. So you can CI/CD, can launch your automation through CloudBeat, and then connecting to any cloud service like Perfecto, like Sauce Labs, like Genymotion, or any other. Then provide a traceability of how the results of the automation was working through any automation, through any traceability tool. And finally, providing analysis through tools like Google Analytics or Splunk or any other analysis tools or logging tools. We can be reached at info@cloudbeat.io or at www.cloudbeat.io. That's our website. Feel free to send us a mail. Just contact us through our website. We'd love to share and see how we can help you. So with no further ado, let's move to the webinar. Thank you and have a nice evening. Okay, let's start the webinar. Hi, my name is Eran Damlin. I'm VP Product and Customer Success in CloudBeat. I'll be your host for tonight. Joining me very soon is Amos Feldman. He's our partner in and the US partner in CloudBeat, and will be displaying, showcasing Oxygen tonight. We have Kanan McCoy. He's going to show Oxygen as well. Show a project he already prepared in advance. Kanan has already been in contact with us and has been using Oxygen to showcase his capabilities. Also with us is Nahum Dimmer, our CEO, CloudBeat CEO. He'll be doing some wrap up and may show us some other capabilities from other CloudBeat tools. So we're going to have a very interesting evening, talking about a lot of capabilities that Oxygen can showcase you all. I'm going to move the mic in a moment to Amos. Asking you all to bear with us. If you have any questions, you will feel very free to join. Just raise your hand and we'll address your questions. I might send some polls in, so just feel very free to ask any questions. If you feel that you missed anything or anything's not clear, just raise your hand and we'll address those questions. Thank you very much, and let's just start. Amos, I'm handing the mic to you.
Thank you, Ron. Hi, everybody. This is Amos Feldman. I'm a customer success partner for OxygenHQ and CloudBeat in San Diego, California. I'm going to be sharing my screen momentarily. Um, so hopefully you can see it. This is should be our first slide here. So you already saw that one. This is basically just a preview. We're going to do a little bit demo at the end of this short presentation. Just wanted to give you a quick look of what Oxygen looks like. Again, it's a free and open source tool that you can download and install whenever you want. It is an installed application as well as a Chrome extension and browser extension, generally speaking. So we'll quickly get to all the elements in the application and how they work. So what is Oxygen? It's basically an open source test automation framework that's built with Selenium and Appium built in. Selenium is a very popular technology, open source technology for automation of web and mobile applications. It's in very wide adoption across the industries. Appium is very similar to that. It's also open source tool, and it's used for automating native and mobile web applications. As you can see, the advantages listed here are that these are cross-platform tools. They're used for native application testing. They're flexible and customizable, open source, and of course, trusted and used by many big players in technology and internet. Um, so as we said, Oxygen is a Swiss knife for Selenium and Appium. Recently, Joe Colantonio on his testing blog kind of called it the Selenium on steroids. We kind of like that. It's built with JavaScript, and you can use JavaScript to develop your automation scripts. It is a dedicated environment for developing your scripts. It does support page object model and parameterization, so it's powerful, modular. You can do a lot with it. And of course, it's not just for web. It's not just for mobile. You can run it cross-platform. You can also add tests for your database, your API testing, web services, etc. And it's pretty much out of the box, ready to go, and easy to use with results. It's built in Node.js. That's the programming language. The advantage of that is that this is a very modern UI framework, and lots of front-end web designers know how to use this. It's very popular, so it's easy to um, extend, add your own code. Again, it's open source, so you can modify it if you need to. And under the hood, we have WebDriver IO, which is a framework that makes your Selenium commands much more readable, easy to use, and you'll see some of that as we start to use the tool. So without further ado, I'll just jump into a quick demo here. And so this is what our application looks like when it's open. So over here on the left side panel, we can see some of the scripts that I've already created, as well as an Excel file that I used for some data-driven tests. Over here, on the left side, these are basically the three icons that you would use initially when you just get started. You have to specify which folder you want to work in. So that would be the solutions folder. This is the icon for creating a new file. And this is the icon for saving your file. And as you can see, I already have a few scripts here. This is how you would navigate between them. If you don't want to see the side panel, you can hide it because some of these code snippets can get a little bit long. Over here, you have your, test destination or target. So if I'm targeting web applications, I can run it in web mode and it will launch whichever browser I want to use. And if I'm on Windows 10 on a PC. If I was using a Mac, then I would also be able to run this on Safari and Chrome for Mac, of course. And this is our mobile mode. So if you have an actual physical mobile device attached to your computer, you can run your test on the mobile device. And this is what we call responsive mode. And in responsive mode, we're basically launching the automation to play back on a simulated device. It'll launch within your computer. It's very nice to see it running on iPad Pro type of style, sizing. Um, Very useful. And of course, when we actually want to run our automation, we have the ability to configure, and I'll show where that is, but basically we would be able to choose whether we want to run this locally or if we want to execute this on a cloud platform. Basically, over here, we have our settings. We're able to mention how many iterations of the test we want, reopen sessions, or use a parameterization file like Excel or CSV, which of course, without that capability, would be a much less powerful tool. But since you can use data-driven tests, that makes it very powerful. And here in the cloud control, you can basically turn on integration that we added for Sauce Labs. Sauce Labs is one of the biggest cloud providers for execution of automation. And basically, if you configure this, you can sign up for a free account for a trial as well. You'll be able to access that in this menu over here. And basically, that leaves us with our most important button here, which is our record function. This is how we would record a script. And then this is just the delay if when we want to start our script, we want to add artificial delay for certain actions. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to play back a script that I already recorded. But once I do that, let me add a delay here as well. I'll basically have to switch the session here so that you're able to see what will happen is and here I'm going to go into the web mode and choose Chrome. So when I click play for my script that I already have, it'll launch in the Chrome browser, and I'll quickly switch to that so you can see it run. And then we'll switch back to IDE, and then we'll see how we do that step by step. So I'm going to go ahead and run my script. And so hopefully what you're looking at now is basically an instance of Chrome that's been launched by the automation framework by Oxygen. It has searched for the term hello world. It's navigated to the hello world page, and it clicked on a link for a computer program. While it's doing all this navigation, it's also doing certain assertions on the page that those are happening. It now clicked on the login button. Presumably, I'm going to log into Wikipedia. Since I forgot my password for login, I'm just going to enter some fake username and password combination, if you want to think of it as a negative test for your login functionality. And then in the end, I get the incorrect username message, and I'm asserting that I did indeed get that message. So at this point, basically my automation has completed. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to sharing my Oxygen IDE. So, so that was, an example of executing a script, and hopefully you guys can see my screen right now. As you can see over here, by the way, going back to
Amos,
my
we can see your screen fine. You can continue.
Okay, thank you. So here on the Wikipedia demo, you can see that I did start the iteration, and I did finish with the past status. If I had more than one iteration, I could run this on multiple values or multiple users, and I would see all the iterations being logged over here. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to quickly show how easy and how quickly you can record this script yourself. So first of all, I'm just going to, in the background, make sure that I only have one window of Chrome. Okay, so I'll go ahead and click on the record button. This shows me that a recording has started. At this point, I'm going to switch to Chrome, and I'm going to change my share screen so you guys can follow along with me. I think actually maybe if I chose this, I think you guys should be able to see everything. So what I'm going to do here.
Yeah, we can see your screen. You can see your web screen as well.
Great. So I'll go ahead and just basically hit enter. I might do that twice just to make sure it registers. And then if I switch over to Oxygen, you can see that it's already created the web init. That's the initialization part for creating an instance of the web driver, the Chrome driver, and it's opened the Wikipedia main page. Tell me to slow down if I'm going a little too fast, but basically I'm going to go ahead and click on this logo here, just because I want to start. I guess this is the main page. Okay, so I'll just go to this search box here. The other script was using a different page, but really doesn't matter. I'm just going to go ahead and type hello world, and I'm going to go ahead and click the search button. So now we've created the search for hello world. And what happens when you install Oxygen is a uh, it'll add an Oxygen element into your contextual menu for websites and then in your browser. And here you would be able to easily choose from the contextual menu if you want to assert the text, assert the value, assert the page title, and you can also do a weight. And of course, there's a lot more functionality behind the scenes, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an assert for the text. So I kind of ran through these things. We kind of stopped over here before. So you can see that we selected the window of Wikipedia that we clicked. And here we're using, basically what you see here, these are commented out possibilities for selecting the element. You can use CSS elements or an XPath. You can do a relative XPath or absolute XPath. This is a link, an href. So if something breaks for some reason, you can always go into your code and try to heal it or fix it using copy paste from the comment into the command. So and here you can see WebDriver syntax, which just makes it a lot easier to do Selenium commands. So you have web.click, web.select window. And as you can see, the script was created on the fly while we were navigating. We clicked on the search window. And so we're back here and we have the assert text that we just did for hello world. So without further
Amos, so
ado,
yeah,
we'll
so
just,
by the way, Amos just showed, maybe we should show the type command that was also command, because that's the one that actually looked for
oh,
the text
yeah,
string.
sure,
Yeah.
thanks, Aaron. Yeah, so I kind of skipped over it, but there's the web.type, which allowed me to make it a hello world. And of course, later when I'm done recording, I can also change that to any other value, or I can also parameterize that and make it search for different values using an Excel sheet or a CSV file. So just to I guess I'll cut this short and I'll click on the login button and I'll enter XXXYYY. And do note that when you're entering your username and password, it will be recording it. So it will be recorded in your script here. You may definitely want to parameterize that. And so this is the login button. And finally, since this is not really my user, then I can go ahead and use Oxygen again to assert the text. And that should pretty much complete my script. Yep, incorrect username or password. So at that point, I can stop the recording. And I didn't really show you this because I already had the files made, but your save button would be here. You would want to save your file. So if this was a brand new file, it'll just open as a tab here. And I immediately kind of want to give it a name. So I'm just showing you this for completion purposes, but let's say I wanted to create it. So then, then the tab gets named and it all exists here. If you reset your UI, then it'll remove all of these files and the folder. So all you would have to do is navigate back to your solution, select the folder, and it'll load up your scripts again. So again, here's our live code that we just recorded. And if I play back, we would basically get the same exact result that we saw in the demonstration earlier. So I think that pretty much wraps up my demonstration around.
Great, Amos. Yeah, cool. Yeah, thank you very much, Amos. Let me just ask you a few more questions before you stop sharing.
Sure.
So we just discussed the web mode.
Yes.
So we have different other modes. Maybe you'd like to share them a bit.
Sure. So like I kind of touched upon this when we discussed all these buttons and all these options. So since I just recorded this new script, let me test it out on an iPad. So I'll go ahead and click run. And it should be capable of launching the window. And what you'll see is even though this is a standard browser window, basically everything should be shown in the correct resolution that's applicable for an iPad, basically. And it would work the same way for iPhone and any kind of mobile device. Of course, you would want to, because a lot of websites are very adaptive, the elements might show up differently or somewhere else, and you would have to work through your code to actually customize it for that experience. So you would actually record a different script in case the application was displaying differently for that screen size and format, basically. Let me go ahead and stop the playback there, just because I think that as I was describing it, that's exactly what happened. I think maybe it wasn't able to find one of the elements that I was looking for.
Yeah,
So unless I
certainly because
recorded that
yeah, so because
specific,
using the iPad
Mhm.
mode, it went through another stream of screens that does have the menu items. Okay, thank you, Amos. Moving along, do we
Yeah,
have
thank you.
Kanan? All right, thank you very much. It was a very elusive. Do anybody have any questions? Feel free to raise your hand. No questions right now.
Oh,
So let's just continue. Kanan, do we have you on the line? We'd love for you to share your screen.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Hello?
yep, we can. Yep,
Okay,
we can hear you
good,
well.
good. All right. Let me get my screen up to share with you. Let me know when you can see it. Do you guys see my screen?
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah, we can see it.
All right. So my input's a little bit shorter. I'll just give you guys some background on on me as a QA tester. I've been a manual front-end QA guy for about more than 10, 15 years now, and the days are changing. Everything's leading and becoming more automated, which is putting a lot of QA people such as myself. It's either learn quick or change your job. So I've been dabbling with different automations and things, and found Oxygen, and it really works for me. It helps me stay current without having to basically learn programming, and it's quite nice. It's saved me in quite a few situations. So that's that. I'm currently working as a tester now for Apple, but as a subcontractor. So I wouldn't say that I'm a full-time Apple employee or anything like that, but it's still fun, and I can see this tool being practical there. I'll let you guys know if that happens in future webinars. But let's get to the task at hand. I'm going to show you guys a real simple, small scripts that almost anyone can make. I think the biggest problem will be for newbies such as myself is the installs, and there are tons of helpful answers on the website, and tons of helpful videos which have gotten me through it. And so a couple of things. If you look at the bottom of my screen, I have Visor installed. You will need that. You will also need Appium, as well as Oxygen, of course. So let's start with my desktop script, and then I will show users how to switch to mobile, and I'll run that, and you can see your test run on your actual device, which is pretty cool. So the other thing I would just mention to new people is, with the delay, turn it up. Bring it up to a second. That way you can see your test. If not, they'll pretty much go by in a blink of an eye. And if you do not turn it up, you can always see if your tests have passed. So I'm just going to run this again, and we see it passed before, and it should pass now. So I'm going to click, and let me go back to web. So you got to make sure you're on web, double check, everything looks good. Let's run it and see. And if you're ever wondering about it, you can look at your browser, and here it is, popped up, great. Everything's looking good so far, no complaints. And yeah, this was just a basic run through of me just clicking through basic sections of the site. Kind of great for kicking the tires if you're about to release a page. So that was short and sweet, and that was a success. So I would also, in my style of QA of just basically being manual front end, we always have to test on mobile. So as you can see, I have my script switched to it here, and also going to switch to my mobile mode here. Making sure my delay is good. Making sure my Android is connected, things are running. I'm actually going to just open up a section just to make sure Visor is showing everything. That's good.
Yeah,
so,
we can see your screen. Everything's fine.
Okay, cool. So now I'm just going to run this and make sure Appium's here in case there's a little bit of a lag or something. I know, so we see Appium running, so we know that things are good. And we just give it a moment, and we'll just let it load. So yeah, it's just have to be a little bit patient with it. And
by the way, Kanan, question for you, maybe to start running, could you go over the script and show the capability files? Well, I can see it's running, so let's just let it run, and then we'll talk about the script itself.
okay.
So now, what is the device that you're using here?
I'm using an Android tablet.
I see.
A Samsung. Here we have the name right here. It's a real. Yeah, it's just a Samsung Galaxy tablet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the test is going just as I created it, and we should get it to pass. Or I didn't. So that would be my basic concern, and that's how I would use Oxygen, is to make sure that tests that I did run passed, and make sure that developers or design haven't changed anything that QA didn't know about. So we can see here it passed, and yeah, Iran, what was your question about? I'll open this up a bit if you needed to see. You had some questions?
So my question to you would be this. So you created actually 2 test cases for web and mobile on the same website. Can
Right.
you tell me the process of actually creating both test cases? Because it's basically the same test case for web and mobile. How did you do the transformation?
Basically, when I went to my web, I just chose my site, and just let me open it up again. I just chose the NASA Pro event site because I always find that site fun. Let me get it up.
Mm-hmm. Now, my question to you is, how hard was it to move from web to mobile? What would the
It was so easy, you know. I think the hardest thing about your question was me answering it. Like, it's so easy, and I think that's been the great thing about this tool is it's almost too easy for everyone, which is great. It gives QA folk like me time to just concentrate on what we have to test and verify. So I wouldn't be concerned about that. I would just always stress that the tester makes sure that they just install everything. Honestly, I think that will be the biggest and hardest thing. And the fringe benefit of using Oxygen is you get to understand more of what your dev team is doing, and and it makes you a better tester. You can talk more in their terms as opposed to the stereotype that a lot of QA people get of us saying that I click it and it's broken. You can show them the exact paths, if you will, or you can show them errors in their CSS and things of that nature.
Great. Thank you very much, Kanan. Thank you very much for
no problem.
Let me just take over on the screen sharing here.
Okay.
You want to continue to stop other sessions? Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to share
Okay.
my screen as well. Um, so, okay, so in the meantime, till Nahum starts, I'm going to show you a bit of what you could actually do in sharing the screen. Let me just go over. So we have our presentation here. Do you see my screen, guys?
Yeah, we can see you flying through the presentation.
Yeah, I was just making sure that we could actually move on. I'm going to show you one little thing here, doing the same test case, and I'm going to show some capability, advanced capabilities, once you have your mobile test case ready. So let's just run a very quick test case, similar to one that Kanan just showed us. This is my mobile device. I'm just going to run this test case. We'll go over a mobile app installed on my computer. This is native app. So we just saw Kanan running a test case. So we have my, sorry, I'll just share my screen. So we just saw a test case that was run on web mobile. We can do native application as well. So this is an APK installed on my computer, an app, a React app called Farm Dog. So it's just going to open the test case so that you can see it's running. And then we'll see what we can do with Oxygen once you do using it. So this is just waiting for the splash screen to start. It's just going to do some sort of login here. Do you guys see my screen? Everything's okay?
Yeah, we can see everything running.
Yes.
We can see the script and the mobile device as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you wanted to emphasize the fact that the in the script, when you're running it on mobile, it's replacing all of the commands instead of web.click to mob.click.
Yeah, that's a good point here. It's actually when you did web mobile, you just have to take the same test case you created for web, just change the command from web to mob, and you have actually a mobile test case. All you really need to add is just capability files. Everything's described. Good point here, actually, that we could see is the, yeah, let me just show you Oxygen website. When you go to oxygen.org, let me just go to the Oxygen.org so you can see the Oxygen website. And inside the Oxygen website, you've got docs. And here you have all your documentation. So you have with video tutorials, download and installation. There's coding in Oxygen. And as Kanan mentioned, Kanan Amos mentioned, we have web, we have mobile, but we have other modules as well. So we have a module for database. You can connect your database to test scripts or run test case and then just run it with database. SOAP UI, you can connect to SOAP UI commands and then just run the test case and use SOAP UI. HTTP will enable you to do API automation. So when I click on HTTP, I have get, post, connection strings, database. When I said it's just connecting set connection string, and then you can execute a query and compare the results to whatever you got on the screen. So very, very, very easy. Serial is actually connecting IoT. So if you have IoT devices, something like a smart fridge or anything, you could actually connect that to your automation and test your smart fridge while you're doing some work on your mobile. Mailinator enables you to connect your mail service. So if you just want to run mail and, you know, for example, for registration process and receiving some sort of mail, you can do that as well. Let me just see what else we have. Twilio, which is for SMS. So I encourage you people to actually download this test kit, to download the Oxygen. If you want, Twilio will enable you to do SMS messages. So if you have an OTP, you could actually compare that to the service of Twilio. Email, and email is the same as mailing for local mail. And there's actually even automation for PDFs if you just, for example, a PDF extraction of some sort of test case. So this is the website I'm calling you. I'd encourage you people to download Oxygen. It's free. Just click on the download button here, and you have a version for 64-bit, 32-bit, Linux, or Mac OS. Solely free. You don't just have to make sure you have Java installed, which is mentioned here. It's a very simple Java 1.8, and you install that. So that's about Oxygen. I just showed you a test case running on mobile. Now what I'm going to show you is a bit more. It's a bit interesting. So this is CloudBeat. This is the enterprise level tool for Oxygen. So once you get Oxygen ready, all you really need to do is just open an account in CloudBeat. We can get you set there. And then you remember the script I just showed you, which is the script, for example, here, farm dog. I can click it here, and here I have my script ready. Okay. And I could actually schedule my script to run whenever I want. So this is the capabilities, the advanced capabilities above Oxygen. Those are enterprise capabilities. So Oxygen is open source tool. You can actually upload a script into CloudBeat's account and then from there continue. And the most interesting thing you could do is click on your devices here, and you can select different devices. So in this case, we have Genymotion service. So we have a partnership with Genymotion, but you could use any other devices or any other cloud service, Source Labs or Perfecto, or whatever. We have some work with them as well. And also you can just select your own local devices. So the same way I just ran on my local device, I could see on the panel here my own local devices, run them as well. So I selected, in this case, 14 mobile devices, and I can actually run the same test case you saw earlier here. So we're going to start this run. It's actually going to show us on parallel this test case running. And I'm just going to go and show you some results. So it takes about 4 minutes for 14 mobile devices to run in parallel. Let me just show you the results here. So it's just going to run. For example, here everything was fine. Let's look for a test result for something that failed. For example, this is a test case we run for another mobile app. And when it runs okay, it's just going to show us, well, let's just go back to FarmDog. I'll show you when it runs. Yeah, okay. So for example, remember we did this test case of FarmDog, did a login or whatever. Let's just see how it looks. So here I could actually see all the actions that were done and the response time for each of the actions. So this is kind of neat. So you could actually run your mobile app, and once you're running, you have very interesting log capabilities, just showing exactly how you're running all your mobile device actions. And let's just go for a test case that failed. So we had a test case with 8 mobile devices on another app called Cellcom. And once the Cellcom failed, let me just show you how it looks. So for example, I get an error message here as well, just saying that I had some sort of problem here. But the more interesting thing, I actually see a screenshot of the failure. So I see in the mobile app running, I could see the failure that happened. Let's just see the other app. And I had some other problems there. Let's just see what were the other problems. Yeah, there was another mobile device that failed, and here there's a message, some sort of problem. Let's see what happened. Yeah, so it got some failure here. That's why this test case as well failed. So this is kind of advanced capabilities that you could utilize. So once you get your mobile app running, up and running, you have your mobile automation up and running, and everything, as I said, is open source. You just use Oxygen, run it totally free. You could actually connect to our CloudBeat account as well, and utilize your automation to run for, let's say, 10, 20 mobile devices, as many mobile devices as I want. Let's just see how the FarmDog test case is going on. So we've got already about 6 or 7 devices ready, and you can see they're about 36% over. So in a few minutes we'll finish, and you'll see all the mobile devices ready, the same way I just showed you earlier. Do you guys have any questions? Please feel free to raise your hand. Okay. Okay.
While we're waiting on some questions, I recently completed a 6 months project working for Cisco Systems in Carlsbad, San Diego, and a lot of the testing had to do with manually testing a new application UI, but most of the work was doing web services testing, API endpoints, and the problem is that most tools are like a one-off. So if you're using SOAP UI or you're using Postman or a tool like that, you're targeting just it's very granular, it's the unit test for that endpoint, but you really can't work it into a end-to-end workflow type of a test. And for those other tests, you would be basically limited to waiting till all the different features are built in the UI if you wanted to do end-to-end, and you wouldn't really be able to complete a flow until the product is pretty much already done. But using a tool such as Oxygen, you're actually able to combine your tests and create a script that will use some of the UI features, and then also right away kind of string it into an API test where you couldn't potentially couldn't run that API test unless you had done certain things via the UI, and vice versa. You wouldn't be able to set up your test via API and then continue through the UI as needed. So it gives you advanced functionalities and capabilities that other tools that are more specific don't have.
Okay, Nahum, would you like to join in? If you have anything to add to the meetup, I think we'll be wrapping up in a few minutes. If you have any questions, Nahum, would you like to join in?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to thank all the participants of the webinar. I hope you like what you see. We at CloudBeat contributed Oxygen and have been actively developing it for the last 3+ years. With a lot of projects that we saw being implemented with Oxygen. So we wanted to bring it up, and we believe that for many companies it might be a great fit, especially if you are thinking to either move to a new infrastructure, test automation infrastructure, or just build it up from ground up. Also, Eran demonstrated to you our CloudBeat platform, which allows you to use Oxygen scripts and run them in cloud on multiple devices, using parallel testing, running it on both local and remote devices, and you can utilize our great root cause analysis interface. And we hope you like what you see. You can go to Oxygen website and download the tool. Please use our community forum to ask questions or to bring up new ideas. We are very active on our forum, and we are always there to help you out with things. So yeah, so thanks again for attending. Eran, back to you.
Thank you very much, Nahum. We're about to wrap up. If you have any questions, we'll be accepting it. Other than that, I think we'll close the webinar. Again, if you want to download Oxygen, you can go through our website, www.cloudbeat.io, or directly through OxygenHQ.org. I'll send that through the webinar as well. So so feel free to download our app and play with it. If you have any questions, just download, you can ask them and share. Okay, so we'll wrap things up. I just want to thank all the panelists. Amos, Kanan, are you still here? I'd love to hear your words just to say thank you for you guys for joining the webinar.
Yeah, it was thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm like I said, I'm just getting started with using the tool, so I'm just going to dive in. I actually have a plan this weekend for some testing that I'm going to use Oxygen for, so I'll be talking to you and the rest of the team about that. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Amos, thank you very much for you too.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eran, for including me here, and of course wanted to say to all the people who participated in the webinar to feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or message me if they need any help or support setting up, getting started, to reach out to us. We're available to help. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
See you.
Bye.